Hey there you guys, it is me, RandomJosh, and today is a slightly different day. So this entire week is essentially going to be dedicated to the 6-year anniversary of this channel. So I thought, what better way to kick it off than giving you something that I've been meaning to do for a little while, and that is to give you an updated base face makeup scenario. I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but essentially it's going to be how I do my normal like base makeup, because it has slightly changed since, and I think I posted like one picture and a lot of people commented actually from the drag race video asking about my makeup or commenting on the makeup, saying it was really good. So I thought I would actually bring it to you guys. So yes, it's going to be a bit of a different style to what we normally do, but we're going to roll with the punches. I've got all my products laid out on my little side here. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So to kick this tutorial off, I've got my primers here. So I use the Revolution Pro primers. I always start off with a pore primer just because my pores in certain areas are really bad, and I also use my matte primer just because I like the way that it finishes the face, as much as I put a lot of highlight on to get that glow. I just really enjoy like the way it kind of looks and feels, I guess. So yeah, we'll just apply this. And so once we've done the primer, we move on to foundation. So this is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear foundation, and this is in the shade Ivory. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I purchased this, I thought, oh, that will be, you know, a close enough match. Girl, it is not. But we roll with the punches. So I just do pretty much a single pump usually, sometimes two, depending how crazy I'm feeling, just to begin with. And then I just use my damp beauty blender. This is from Primark. I have a whole load of them. And just slowly start by kind of adding that through the face. So you will like notice that it isn't really a complete true match. It's a little bit on the sandier side, so it's more yellow undertoned, but it's fine because you can powder that out and make it work. So once you've pretty much got the coverage all sorted, so yeah, I think this is all pretty much covered now, or a little bit on the inner corners there, I can just see, but that's fine. Yeah, so once that's all sorted, we want to move on to our cream contouring. So for this, I use one of the Revolution dual contour sticks. Now I used to use this side because it's the more like ashy side, but that side has pretty much run out. So I've actually started using this more orangey toned one, which kind of works. So we just kind of roll with it. So the way that I do this is I just start by essentially applying not always too much, because as much as this is obviously going to be blended through, I don't want to overdo the cream contour, although for some people this probably will be quite like intense. And I mean, normally I do this in my mirror back there without all of this like lighting going on. So I mean, already just like looking at how this looks now, I'm like, oh my god, do I really do that? But you know, it works. And I'm just doing what I normally do. Normally I would do the jawline as well, but I think we're gonna give that a miss today. So yeah, we start with that, and then I just take my buffing brush and essentially just like slowly and like really lightly just buff this into the skin. Now again, this is probably gonna look really whack, and obviously you can use a little bit to begin with, but like honestly, once you buff this in, like obviously you notice it, but then we're going to be powdering over all of this anyways, so it kind of blends everything into a like much more controlled and seamless finish. So I think this is about blended. Again, it'll probably look really crazy, but trust me, it works. And then we actually want to move on to highlighting everything. So I use the Infallible More Than Concealer by L'Oreal Paris, and this is in the shade Eggshell. So this is quite a light concealer, but I just essentially do 2 lines just along the sides of my nose just to begin with, and then just drag that out to a kind of like partial triangle underneath the eye. So take the like first one fairly far, and then the rest a little bit less. And then just down essentially the nose and onto the forehead, just splaying it out so slightly. And then sometimes I like to just do a little bit on the like Cupid's bow area, because it just emphasises the lips there. And then sometimes I do like to just cover up some of the blemishes that I do have, just to make sure that they are covered, but most of the time I don't really care too much. And then we go back in with our beauty blender for this one and just basically work all of that in. Now the clash of these shades is sometimes, wow, it looks quite intense, because obviously the concealer is very light, but again it works, and you just blend it out. So, yep, so that's the like highlighting stage. So I look a little bit more pale, which does technically match my skin tone. Now we're moving on to actually powdering. So I start off with the Revolution, I think it's called, is it Bacon Finish? yeah, I use it quite a lot, as you can tell. The label is faded. So I just use the lid and catch a little bit of the powder in there. Take my fluffy powdering brush, and this is very messy, so beware. Probably do not need as much powder as I often tend to use, but we go with it again. And I mainly start by focusing on those areas where we've just pretty much put the concealer. So now that we look like Casper the Ghost, we obviously want to just add back in some of that colour. So for this I actually use 2 of the Revolution little concealer, bronzing and contour. So this one's a pressed contour and this one's bronzing. So you can see the contour one, well, let me open it because it might show it a little bit more. But the pressed contour one is actually slightly lighter than the bronzer. So this is the contour, this is the bronzer. So normally what I do is I start off with this contour and just take my little contour brush, try and get a fairly decent amount on there, tap off the excess, and then we go in, just lightly work that in just to begin with. Again, this is just to start adding a bit more colour back into the skin now that we've made it super pale. So I tend to try not to go too hard in with the brushes. Majority of the time I try and just do really like light strokes. And I go a little bit crazy with it just because then it helps to kind of marry it in with the rest of the skin. And then when it actually comes to my nose, what I do is I pinch the brush to make it a little bit more of like a flat line. And just really carefully try and redraw those lines back on, and then let go of it and just, again, nice and lightly just fluff that out basically. Try and blend it through a little bit so that it's not obviously noticeably intense, but it still adds a layer of contour to it. And then sometimes, depending on how crazy I'm feeling, I go in with a little bit of the bronzer here, which again is a little bit darker. So I just try and basically get that into the inner section here, just to add a little bit more intensity. And just try and blend it in to where we're adding it. So that just adds that little bit more of a like, oh, hello, she here. And sometimes like, I tend to try and bring it down into like the center of the face just slightly with the contouring. But I mean, a lot of the times I try and keep it as far back so it's not completely noticeable, but like if I tilt my head certain ways, you're like, it catches the eye. It's like, oh hello, oh hello. And now that we've done the contouring, I often also go in with the Revolution Blusher Reloaded. And this is my go-to one. It's the colour Peach Bliss, I believe. Yeah, Peach Bliss. So I just use a blush brush. Making me blush. And just very gently apply that kind of on the top half of where the contour was, just to add a slight bit of colour. So sometimes it comes out really intense, other times it doesn't come out as intense. Today it seems to have come out a little bit more intense, and I also do it on my nose as well, just to add that little bit of extra colour towards the face. I'm just going to take the other side of this brush and try and blend that through just a little bit so it's not as intense, because it feels like, especially on this side, it's very intense. I'm just going to try and sort that. There's no harm in it. So yeah, that just adds that little teeny weeny pop of colour. Right, so this is the stage where normally I tend to just do the eyes and like the rest of the face. So because we're not really doing eye makeup today, I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is just do my eyebrows very quickly, because I'm sure you all know how Josh does his eyebrows, because I do them pretty much in every single makeup tutorial. Although if you would like to know exact details on how I do these brows, I mean, you're going to kind of see here, but I don't even know how to describe this process. But this is just a Art Deco gel cream for brows. Now, this is really old, so I feel like I probably need a new one, because makeup does expire. This probably has expired. Ooh, never mind. Right, so that is brows sorted. So I'm just going to jump in with some mascara now, and this is the Roller Lash from Benefit. And that is mascara done. It just adds that little pop of like, hello eyes. And for the sake of this, I am just going to add a little bit of lippy as well. And this is the Color Riche Shine Coconut Plump by L'Oreal Paris. I don't remember if it has a shade name, I don't think so. But this is just like a plumping lipstick thingy, which is really like shiny, it doesn't dry matte. But it's like got coconut in it, so it's really nice. And last but not least, of course, we're finishing this off with the ever wonderful Jeffree Star. My all-time favourite highlight. I literally live and breathe this thing, and I'm going to cry when it finishes, which is probably not going to be for a while, as much as I use a lot of it. Like, oh, just like get into it. No, I go really intense with highlight, but obviously you can go a lot softer, more natural, but girl, this is my tutorial. You obviously watching can change it up to fit yourselves as much as possible. But you are watching Random Josh, and this is how I do my makeup. And then normally we do a little bit in the inner corner just to pop that eye so it's nice and pretty. And a little bit intense. It just adds that little bit of something, again, just to open up the eyes that little bit more. And hey presto, that is pretty much it for actually doing makeup. That is my new routine on just standard base makeup. I don't actually know how good it looks because obviously it looks different in the monitor for me. But I'd say this actually has worked pretty well for what I normally do. So yeah, get into it, girl. Eat it up, eat it up. Now normally I do also tend to just take a little bit of like the makeup on the neck because you can kind of see the like obvious difference between face and body. So always try and blend your makeup through, you know, normally you will try and match it up, but there's always going to be a slight difference, so it's always good to try and blend it through into like this kind of area, even if it's not completely the same colour. Like you don't want to be completely flat, but like at least make it a similar colour, so like use that little bit of foundation just to kind of blend the two together. But anyway you guys, that is pretty much it for this makeup today. I hope that you did enjoy this. If you did, please let me know down below, give it a nice little thumbs up, and yeah, I hope that you stay tuned for this week of madness. If you do, get ready because trust me, I've got a lot planned. And hopefully this is a nice surprise for you guys so that you enjoy an awesome week of seeing my face every day. So yeah, I will be back tomorrow with another new video. What will it be? Who knows? We will see. But anyway, thank you so much once again, and I will see each and every one of you guys in the next video. Peace out, bitches.